welcome back to Learning with Liz. So on today's video, I am going to be explaining my honest thoughts about SKITT. For those who have watched my SKITT training route video, you will have seen that SKITT stands for School Centred Initial Teacher Training. So this is the teacher training route that I chose to qualify as a teacher with throughout the past year. And now that I finished it, I thought that I would share a video with you about my honest beliefs of if you should do the SKITT, is it the right course for you, was it the right course for myself, and just share a little bit of a fun facts for you. Of course, each person's experience is completely different when it comes to teacher training. So for me, I absolutely loved my teacher training year. I would completely recommend the SKITT to anyone who is pondering whether to go into the teaching sphere. But that's because of my experience. I had a great mentor, I became such good friends with the RE department, I got a job afterwards, so it was just a great experience all in all. But of course, depending on the type of person you are, you might not enjoy it. So I am only speaking from my behalf of what I have learned. So on the whole, an amazing experience, and I will explain why, but there are little bits that I was like, maybe this could be developed a little bit further, which I will go into later. So number one, I think that SKITT is a great concept. So the idea of learning how to be a teacher on the job is such a great way to become a teacher. So quite a few different training routes, like the PGCE, you're sort of mainly based at a university, and then you progress onto your placements for about 6 weeks where you're in a classroom and you put all your learning to the test. Whereas SKITT, I think it has a one-up on those places because you're in the classroom from day one. You're learning about things on the hub days, on Wednesday for example, and then on Thursday you're in the classroom, and then you can observe other teachers. Have they got those behaviour management tips that I've sort of learnt already? Or if you're not observing and you are actually teaching, even better practice just to sort of keep the information from your head into the classroom. So I thought it's a great concept. You're also learning about different pedagogies, so it's not just that you're in the classroom and that's it. You learn about a lot of different ranges of things you need to have to become a teacher, the theory behind it. You learn that through university days, and also every week you have a hub day where you and your fellow teacher trainees are all together learning about different theories which are important to practically implement into the classroom. Number two, my honest opinion is that the SKITT are very interested in developing new ideas from the feedback that previous trainees have provided them with. For example, there's a lot of different evaluation forms that you can fill in after your placement. To be fair, I think there's different evaluation periods. I think it's twice a year. They're asking feedback from primary trainees and secondary trainees. What could we do better next year for the upcoming cohort? How could we make it a little bit more interesting? So from this year, some of the trainees are saying that there's been a lot of paperwork. Is there any way that we can condense it so we're not just repeating ourselves? And they have taken on board that advice and are going to implement it into next year's cohort, which is wonderful. Number three, one selling point of the SKITT was the idea that it is local. So you have placements in local schools to where you live, so you're not having to travel that far. If you don't have a car, it's easier to access, and there's buses to get there. And on the whole, that is correct. But I would say it depends on your definition of local. So for my second placement, I had to drive around 45 minutes to get to my school. That school started at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when the lessons arrived. So that would mean that I would be getting up pretty early to beat the rush hour traffic, and then even though the school day finished at like 2:30, you'd still be needing to do some work, so you might end up hitting traffic. So although on the whole the majority of the trainees managed to get super duper close places, like 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes drive, it's not local for all people. And even though the main thing is they're trying to make it local, bear in mind that you might be one of those people that unfortunately a placement school is only available for you at a 50-minute drive, but that will only be for 3 months. So bear that in mind as well. And it was a good learning curve for me to sort of realise, okay, I want to work in a school that is really, really close, because I just can't be bothered to spend like 2 hours a day in my car. I'm just not about that life. Number 4 is that there are a range of professionals giving you advice on those hub days. So you have classroom teachers that are coming into your hub days to teach you about theories or different metacognition, for example, how students learn. So we had maths teachers coming in to talk to us, we had science, English, geography, history, RE, which was brilliant because it wasn't like just at university where you might just get one lecturer delivering this information. Although it is specialised to that lecturer, I think it was really beneficial for us to have different types of teachers coming in, sharing their experiences with us week in and week out, which was just wonderful. So for example, a geography teacher would be coming in to talk about outdoor learning, the benefits of outdoor learning. How could you maybe implement that into your classes? Which I thought was just a wonderful idea. RE can be such a nice debate topic. You can have that anywhere. You can be outdoors in the summer. It might just be a nice idea for your students just to sit outside all together and you just have a good fun debate in the sunshine. I think it's just a wonderful idea. Yeah, so it's really, really beneficial to have different types of teachers coming in and sharing their tips with us throughout the year. Number 5, my honest thought is that the SKITT do such a wonderful job at easing you in to teaching. So that first sort of 6 weeks where you are just simply observing different teachers was so valuable, and I would suggest to new trainees that are joining the SKITT in September or are on a different training route, observations are just so important, just to see how different teachers teach, the different behaviour management techniques, the different types of teachers there are out there. Sometimes you can have the really intimidating teachers that have just got their students around their finger because they can just look and just scare them, but then you might have teachers like me who are very small and are just not maybe as big a presence, therefore you have to adapt your behaviour management techniques in a different way. It's just so interesting to see different subjects as well. Well done to SKITT for that whole easing in process. Number 6, my next honest opinion about SKITT is that there is a lot of paperwork. Lots and lots of paper was used throughout the year. The majority of it was electronic, but because of the nature of having to have evidence bundles, there was just a lot of paper that we had to fill in, like paperwork that is. So our first and second placements, there were physical evidence bundles that you would present back in your interview after your placements. The third and final evidence bundle took place in the beautiful COVID-19 lockdown situation. So this, I think, demonstrated to the SKITT team that you are able to have an evidence bundle that can be delivered electronically. But I'm not just talking from like an environmental perspective of there's a lot of paperwork. I think that this year there was a lot of repeated things that we had to write down with our mentors and then reflect on that could maybe be minimised down, but I think it's similar for a lot of the teacher training routes, just because you have to evidence that you are a kick-ass teacher. So you have to prove and reiterate to the sort of examining body, you are good at what you do, you know this, you know that. So naturally there is a lot of paperwork to fill in throughout the year. Yeah, no one really likes paperwork, do they? So it's not a terrible thing. It's just something to be aware of. Number 7, one thing that I thought was great about the SKITT was that they realised that as teacher trainees, our main concern in being in the classroom from that first week was, how on earth do I manage behaviour? That is the biggest thing that I think intimidates and scares a lot of teachers to be. It is, how can I control a classroom when there's only one of me and there's 30 of them? And SKITT responded to that by delivering our first hub session on behaviour management. So straight away we learnt some exciting techniques, and throughout that day we were able to go visit different classrooms and see other teachers' way of behaviour managing, which was great. So really well done for that. Number 8, an honest fact is that a high percentage of the teacher trainees from SKITT got a job at the end of the year, and I think that is to do with the fact that they have been in the classroom from day one. There's a lot more experience that has been had from these trainees in comparison to maybe some other teacher training routes. Just the whole process of observing and then doing starter tasks, and then maybe taking half a lesson and then taking the full lesson, always with a teacher in the room with you, just made the teacher trainees and myself, well, I was a teacher trainee, us teacher trainees so prepared, and that by the time that it got down to interviews and having to be in a classroom of people, obviously it was still intimidating because it's an interview situation and that's never exciting, but we were prepared. Having said that, I bloomin' love interviews. I'm one of those really weird people that just enjoys the whole experience, so it was a hoop for me, but for a lot of other people, interviews aren't always great. Another thing that was great about the Sheffield SKITT was that there was such a good opportunity to go and see a range of schools. So we got a placement in primary schools. If you didn't get to go to a sixth form, you're able to go to a sixth form or college. Then there was an alternative placement which was available to us as well. Unfortunately, because of the lockdown situation, the time that we were supposed to be doing our alternative placement, everyone was in quarantine, so we weren't able to do that. But the years previously and the upcoming years do get to do an alternative placement too. So that could be at a special educational needs school, it could be at an alternative provision school where kids have been excluded or expelled, so they have to go to this place permanently. It could be a private school, it could be a museum of education, which is just great. So that was really great about the SKITT too. Okay, so that is the end of my video for my honest beliefs on the SKITT. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope this has been really insightful for you. My last video has had quite a few views and comments, which obviously indicates to me that it's an important topic that people do want to look at. So I hope this has been really informative for you, you students potentially out there that are wanting to go into a teacher training route but have no idea. If you are ready to start the SKITT in September, I hope this has got you excited and ready to go. And thank you for watching. Please like the video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, comment if you found it helpful. If you've got further questions, please just write them down below, and subscribe to my channel to watch more content that is designed for teacher trainees, new teachers and students that are wanting to go into the education sphere.